Well, children, today's saint, Saint Joseph Cupertino, he was a misfit his whole life long. When he was a little boy, he went to school with his companions, but he was very dull. He could not learn, and no matter how hard he tried, he could not keep up with his other students. And he tried his best, and he would learn very little. On top of that, he was often absent-minded. What does that mean? Well, he was not aware of what was going on around him most of the time. Someone was talking to him, if the teacher was talking to him, or a friend, he would often get distracted and just wander into different thoughts in his imagination. And then he could not say full sentences. He went to recess and he tried to be like the rest of the kids. He wanted to be as friendly to them. And so he would try to tell stories, but he would always forget how the story ended. And then he would try to say something to a friend, and he would not be able to find the right words. And that was very frustrating for him, because he was not able to really communicate with anyone. He did not have any friends. Now, it's true, some people, some of his companions, they took pity on him, and they tried their best to really talk to him. They never really succeeded, but they never gave up, and they kept him some company. This was his school life, and when he left school, he had to find a job, and so he tried to work as a shoemaker, but he did not do so well. He was very clumsy. And then he had this idea that he could become a religious, a Franciscan, because he saw them going by his house every now and then, that they simply begged. They went around begging for food. And he said, I can do that. I don't have to be smart. So he tried to enter the religious house, the Franciscans, and they eventually would take him. They had a place for him. They put him in the stable, and there he would care for a mule. And it's really here in his life when people started to see just how good and holy he was, because despite his living conditions in that stable, he was very poor there. He had a board he slept on, and he was mostly alone with the mule taking care of it. But when anyone would visit him, he was always most cheerful. He was so happy, and he was so friendly. And that made everyone in the community, they started to look up to him, because they saw that despite all of everything he lacked, that he was still happy. And how was he still happy? He found something that the smartest person has trouble finding, believe it or not. That is the love of God. Because he had trouble communicating with people, he was actually more able to talk to God, because he could ignore everything going on in the world. And so he could, when he saw a flower, when he saw anything pretty in creation, he immediately started to think about how good God is. And he would thank God, and he would say prayers to God, and he would love God. And he did that his whole life long. And he only grew stronger in the love of God. So much so that he was able to give joy to everyone around him, and people began to love him. Children, if you ever have trouble making friends, remember St. Joseph and be patient. You have to be able to bear with your own deficiencies. God has a plan for you. Don't lose patience. Don't become jealous or hateful of your friends who do better. And if you know someone who has trouble, remember, God has a very special love for those poor and untalented people, those people who struggle. God really loves them. And so you can do a great act of charity by going out of your way, at least from time to time, to help them, to keep them company. May God bless you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen.